Michael Hardy. I'm 60 years old. I've been born and bred in Stanley. I've never shifted any more than probably 200 metres from where I've lived all my life. Been a fisherman in the seafood industry for over 40 years. Yes, and I've got from a fishing family. My father's still alive, he's 87 and he was a fisherman. Well, I used to get really seasick, and I don't know whether I used to like fishing when on a nice day, but I don't know when you're a boy whether it's just you like being with your dad. Probably is probably the initial thing, but I used to love seeing the shark come up and used to cut their heads off and all that sort of thing. But even now, as you know, I've been in the industry for such a long time. You get a real buzz when you see a pot full of crays coming, or heaps of shark coming, or catching heaps of octopus or whatever. But I don't know whether it's the thrill of catching the fish or whether you're earning money. I can't remember any time where it's at its best. It's just been a lot of hard work all the way along, and you only get out of what you put in, really. Like even now, you only get out what you put in, and there's no easy ride. But I can remember some pretty good days of fishing. Calm seas, heaps of crays coming up in your pots, or heaps of sharks coming up on your hooks or your nets, or heaps of octopus coming up in the pots. In the early days, I started off with the cooter industry, and then in the war years, they started catching shark just for the liver, for vitamin C, I believe. And there was an industry just based on catching the shark for the liver. But during that time, they found that the shark meat was quite good to eat. So then there was a shark industry based on the actual flesh of the shark. And then in later years, the crayfish fishery came along. Mainly, the main market for crays was the tail market in the USA, and then as time went by, it turned into the live seafood for the Southeast Asia and mainly China. When we were sharking, the gummy sharks in particular all seemed to be full of octopus. So I thought, well, we'll just have a bit of a play. We did a bit of research, of course, to see how they catch them, and we made up these traps took a bait, and I used to clip them on the shark ear. We just did a bit of research that way to find out whether we could catch them and where they were, and one thing led to another. Yeah, we did a bit of research, and then we started, like I said, we got 5,000 traps from Japan through a Japanese company, and just started from there. We had a lot of problems though. There was in the early days we could catch them, but we couldn't sell them, and we used to go back praying and sharking to pay the bills, and I don't know, we just stuck at it. When you get your teeth into something, you don't like to be defeated, and we just stuck at it. But I really don't think I'd do it again. But as it turned out, I've got two sons that are doing it, and I think the fisheries are well managed. Actually, some of the fisheries are over managed, and there'll be a future forever, as far as I can understand. But the bureaucracy needs needs to take a step back, I feel. Some of the, like in the shark fishery, they've gone overboard. A lot of other fisheries, I can't speak really, but it seems that the scallop fishery has a lot of problems. But yeah, I think bureaucracy has got a lot to answer for in a lot of places. If the fisheries are managing the fisheries through research, that's how it should be. Politics shouldn't come into it. Yeah, and in our early days, like my wife Jan, we lived on the boat and we fished around Tasmania, and that was sort of fond memories for 18 months. Yeah. You need to be able to fish, and Tasmanians in particular used to be multi-purpose fishermen. Like we used to shark and cray and scallop, and you could spread your fishing effort across different fisheries. Now with the licensing system, people have got themselves locked in to single fisheries, and some people have paid a lot of money to buy into fisheries, and they get themselves locked in a fishery. Like we've been through the same ourselves, but we've been lucky enough to be able to work our way back into it, so we are still multi-purpose fishermen. And this is where you have problems, like if people buy into a fishery really not knowing what they're doing sometimes, and if that fishery has a downturn, they're in trouble. And it doesn't matter what fishery you're in, they all have downturns, whether it be the catching side of it or the marketing side of it. You can have heaps of fish in the sea, but if you can't sell them, it's no good to anyone. Oh gee, I can remember when the fishermen's dock down here would have been full, and the Duck River in Smithton would have been full. That was in the peak of the cray season, when the cray industry was in full boom, and you'd get a lot of the East Coast fishermen come from the East Coast to fish the more or less the undeveloped West Coast. Yeah, that would have been sort of the mid-1970s, sort of 80s, yeah, in that era. But now everything's licensed and quoted, and yeah, and keep talking about crays all the time, because really the cray industry is sort of the core industry of Tasmania to a certain extent. I'm not, not apart from the abalone, but the quota was set at 1,500 tonne when it first came in. Now it's cut down to 1,000 tonne. So really, it's not a very big industry. The giant crab used to be about 400 tonne a year caught, just from my recollection. Now the total Tasmanian catch is only 40 tonne. You can't even really base an industry on that. There's a lot of different types of fishermen. A lot of fishermen don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to do anything. They want to sit at their own back door and expect to catch the same amount of fish every year, but seasons fluctuate. Some areas will fish better than others, and that's just Mother Nature. You really need to have a little bit of backup so that you can afford to have a bad season. Yeah, but you see a lot of people come and go, and we have seen a lot of people come and go.